agreement with May Consulting on a week-to-week basis as needed.
I'll second it.
So you have a motion to approve the agreement with Bain Consulting on a week-to-week basis as needed.
And we'll continue looking for a bookkeeper.
And second by Councilman Falcone. Any other discussion? We will continue to be looking for a bookkeeper or a financial consultant, or not
Finance manager.
finance manager, a finance manager.
And you can start now.
Yes,
So-
I will, right away, yes.
So if there's any more discussion, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the vote. Place one,
Yes.
place two, place three,
Yes.
place four,
Yes.
place five.
Yes.
Motion's carried for the motion to the agreement, to approve the agreement with Bain Consulting. Item H, discuss, consider, and take action to approve and allow Ms. Amanda Lindgren, is that correct? To keep and maintain a 4-H livestock on her property located at 605 Main Street. You guys, you want to step up and just kind
I'll
of
make
tell
a
us what it
motion.
is?
I make a
I'm
motion
sorry.
that we approve the last submission.
So we
What
have
you
a,
said.
so
I'll
we
second
have
it.
I'll second.
a motion and second by Councilman Huerta to approve and allow Ms. Amanda Langgreen to keep and maintain 4-H livestock on her property located on 605 Main Street. So you want to come and just let us know, step up to the mic and tell us what exactly you guys are wanting to do?
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with 4-H projects.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
It's huge in our family. It's been, I think, every generation of his family. I've done it when I was a kid. He did it. Our kids have grown up around it. But it teaches kids more than you can ever imagine. My kids also do sports, and it teaches them a lot too, not to take away from that. But 4-H just teaches them so many different values: responsibility, hard work, dedication, sportsmanship, everything. They raise these animals. It's a year-round project because they do cattle. So it's, by the time you get done with them for 1 year, you're already buying the new babies for the next year. They're out in the barn in the mornings feeding them. They have to feed them before they go to school. They come home from school. They have to work them. They bathe them several days of the week, if not every single day of the week, if it's really hot outside, to keep them cool. They have to keep the barn clean on a daily basis. So it's not something that's dirty. It's not an eyesore. It doesn't smell. They keep up with the animals. If you see them, they're nice and clean for the most part all the time, unless, they, roll around in the shavings. But they keep the barns, their pens, they have to stay clean and dry at all times. So it's a lot of work for the kids. They enjoy it. They raise them all year. Like I said, they feed them out. They have to, feed them a certain way. They have to train them to walk a certain way so that when they go in the show ring, they can present them in front of the judge. So that's, I guess, pretty much.
Where do you keep them now?
At our house. We always have a barn at our house, but we're just purchasing this property. So we haven't actually closed yet. So we just wanted, before we go to the closing table and purchase it, we want to make for sure that we can have our animals on our property.
What kind of animals?
They're show steers,
Steers?
so cattle,
That's all, just cattle?
just cattle.
How many are you going to be in?
This year it'll be 5 at most. And it will go down after this year because it'll just be our son after this year that will be showing. So it'll be 2 to 3 for the next, I guess he has 3 years after this one, and then that will be it.
Well, I don't know how you guys do it because
I don't either.
I raised a goat 1 year and from a baby, and when they took her from me, it was like I was heartbroken. So I never did it again. So I was like, I'm not ever doing it again. That was enough for me. So
It's hard. She can tell you. I have so many pictures of whenever she's carrying them to the pen after she gets done showing them, and I mean, she's got tears. She kisses them. She hugs them. and it is hard, but it's kind of also one of those things you teach them. It's life, you know. It's
My
kind of
goat
the
used
circle of
to
life.
sleep in the kitchen floor with me, so because we couldn't keep her quiet outside, so she had to come inside. So she became a indoors goat. So
Okay, well, these are not indoor cattle. Of course, they do have an somewhat indoor barn that they sleep in, but I think the most she's come to sleeping with them is at stock shows whenever, you know, sleeping in the pens, but when you're
Have you
completely
talked to the
exhausted.
neighbors? Have you talked to the neighbors to the right, the neighbors to the left?
We have not, I mean, we plan to, just because we've only, the people that were, I guess the sellers of the home still live there, so we haven't really been there
I
that
know,
much.
I know one of them.
Okay,
But basically, you're gonna go before that our administrator, you're gonna get a specific use certificate. I don't know how many years y'all wanna do. They mentioned 3 years. I don't have a problem just saying for 3 years. That way,
okay.
you know, if y'all wanna put that in y'all's motion, because
Well, also, I would like to see the neighbors, I mean.
Well-
Yeah, because you kind of,
well, there it would, again, it's up to council with specific use certificate, and also they're gonna be issued an ordinance. You gotta have a distance of 500 feet for the stables, the barn and all that, which you've got over 4 acres there.
5 acres. so,
Right,
yeah.
but as long as, so, but I understand what he's saying, just to let the neighbors know as well. But
Correct.
I don't think they want to come back with approval of, because it would ultimately be our decision. But you're right,
I mean, we want to
Yeah.
keep everything friendly with neighbors as
that's
well.
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
we're
you don't.
very, you know, we get along with, you know, we're very easygoing people,
Yeah.
but, I mean, and like I said, they're not a nuisance whatsoever. I mean, they're barn kept, they're clean, you
They're gonna
won't
be in the
smell
very
them.
back anyway.
They're gonna be in the
The very
back
back of
there.
it.
On that
Yeah.
whole strip of
Yeah.
houses
I
right
know-
there,
I know
they're towards the
exactly.
road.
You got a lot.
and like I said, I mean, the ordinance reads 500 feet away from the other people's house, not your own. You can have it right there in your living room, according to this, but, you know, and again, 5 acres. I think we had that discussion a couple of years ago, and somebody said, well, if we allow somebody, everybody's gonna wanna do it, but not everybody has, you know, the 500 or even 500 feet
Mhm.
away from a house in the city limits. Only they do, only those 4 properties.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it.
So is there any more discussion? I mean, I myself don't see a problem with it because the parcels of land out there are pretty huge, and
Mhm.
you're able to maintain that 500 feet clearance pretty much in all directions. And,
Yes, sir.
and I know that, you know, these are not going to be cattle that are just running around loose and on the highway, on the street and stuff like that. You guys put a lot of time and effort into these cattle, and like they become like family. So.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, I don't have any problems with what you guys are asking for. Obviously, like Councilman Huerta said, you will have to get with our city administrator, and we would have to kind of put an ordinance in place
The certificate, yeah.
and get the certificate. So,
Okay.
does anybody have any other questions or discussions? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with the vote to approve and allow Ms. Amanda Lindgren to keep and maintain 4-H livestock on her property located at 605 Main Street, Place 1,
Yes.
Place 2,
Yes.
Place 3,
Yes.
Place 4,
Yes.
Place 5.
Yes.
So the motion to approve and maintain 4-H livestock is passed unanimously.
Thank you guys very much.
You guys go here,
Thank you,
no
guys.
more. What's good, y'all to?
Next to
Um,
Bobby.
I know.
Where do they live?
What's good, y'all to?
We're in Cow Island right now, but we're moving this way.
Just kidding.
A little too busy over there for us. I come from a very small town, little 2A school, and we lived actually in Pflugerville out in the country for
Never.
forever. That's where our kids were raised, and we came here it's 3 years ago now, and it was, you know, when the market was booming and there wasn't many properties available, so we kind of took what we could to be able to have property for livestock, and so we've been looking ever since then and found this home and fell in love with it. So, and love the small town, and so
Well, Pflugerville is no longer, is there any boundary left in Pflugerville? Like,
very little.
I was in Austin for 25 years, and I saw Pflugerville go from about 5,000 to, what is it, like 100,000 now? So,
We live on Oscar, so
Anymore. All right, well, thank you guys for coming. And just stay with Mr. Hernandez, later on the week or we can finalize everything. All right, thank you.
All right.
So we move on to item 5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve and allow Ms. Maria Garza to rezone her property located at 202 Cook Street from residential to commercial, so she can convert the home to a full-time daycare. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the rezoning of the property
Uh,
from residential to commercial.
I have a motion by Councilman Dominguez. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So I have a motion by Councilman Dominguez to allow Ms. Maria Garza to rezone her property located at 202 Cook Street from residential to commercial. Second by Councilman Huerta. We can go ahead and move on to discussion.
I do have a question. So since we are the planning and zoning, does that have to go there before or does it go after or?
It's going to go before the council again. This is where it gets kind of tricky because you have to send out letters 200 feet away to the residents. Y'all would actually do it because y'all are the ones wanting it. And then they either come and say yay or nay, and then the council decides. Now, once it's rezoned, then it's going to be commercial until you rezone it again. Now, keep in mind, and on our zoning books, there's a lot of things you can do in commercial area. So you can even be a residential. You can use it for a lot of stuff. Could be residential, could be commercial, it could be apartments, it could be, there's a list. So just keep that, but you do gotta take a step. Yeah, that's another thing too.
For certain employees, you gotta have certain parking, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stipulations like commercial too, so I don't know what she wants to do.
Well,
Yeah.
and one of the things that I was looking at is we've allowed it for other individuals. So we've got the snow cone stand over there by the Catholic Church. We did, there's other indoor business in the body.
Not
As long as
unless,
they comply.
not unless,
I
because you're regulated by the state, right?
Yes.
But they're not gonna be parking, right?
Oh,
This is
Be
drop
dropping
off.
off.
Not unless, not unless we give them just a special permit and leave it alone as far as residential. There's a lot of
I
people,
would do that.
I would rather do that because you know
go
what?
Commercial, you're going.
You gotta, yeah, it takes a little bit more.
Because we're moving to Cal Island, and I wanted, instead of renting the house, I wanted to go ahead and make it a daycare.
But it can
So-
still be done, like, you can leave it as residential and you're complying with the state.
Yeah.
Whenever you don't have it anymore, it just goes back to residential.
Okay.
It'd be a lot easier because if you commercial, then you gotta have certain spaces, you gotta do this and that. It's more,
Oh, okay.
That's how it is with some of the, like Isaac says, we've allowed some of the businesses.
But we
Some of them
rezoned
still
it.
live there.
Didn't we rezone it?
I don't know.
Some of them, I don't
So-
think they've rezoned.
So can that be done?
I think what we're discussing here is that you're moving away from that house,
Yes.
yeah.
and you're purchasing a house in Cal Island, but you want to take care of this so that any potential tenants can use it as a daycare or.
No.
No,
They're gonna
myself,
use it.
me. If I see it
Themselves.
here, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna rent it out. If I'm not allowed to, I'm just gonna rent it out.
Okay, no, as long as you're the one. that's gonna
Yes,
be
I'm the
doing
one
it,
that's gonna be
then
doing
you're
That's
the
what
owner, there's no
yeah.
problem.
That's why I think it should be done just with the authorization of the council. And that's it. And because the other way, she's gonna actually rezone it commercially and
Yeah,
it takes, it's a lot of red
It's gonna be
tape.
a lot more value. I just leave it.
Okay, so when I go to licensing, because the licensing is the one that told me to come over here and talk to you and make sure.
No, it's okay
If
because
that's okay.
once it's approved, they're gonna want the minutes and all that,
Oh.
we're approving you under special circumstances.
Yeah.
Now, once you decide you don't want your daycare,
Mhm.
you cannot
Yeah.
lease it to another daycare
Oh, no.
because that was for you.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah, then, I mean, they can come and ask themselves.
Okay.
And you can ask the licensing people if that's okay with the way that, if you give her the information on what we're doing, and just to make sure that it's okay for them.
What was it? Special certification or whatever?
Special-
Yeah, it would just be
Special
like
use
a special
certification?
permit.
So we're
Yes,
like-
I have a
We'll
meeting.
change my motion, right?
Oh, you're doing with.
Yeah, we're
If you
giving them a
do a
special
special
use
permit.
permit.
June
yeah.
the fourth, June the
Special
fourth, I have to go, but I have to take a class with licensing from 1:30 to 4 that day, and they're just giving me an other package, but I want to be like ahead. I want to be like, I need to hurry up and do this. So I'm trying to get all my
Yeah.
stuff.
See,
together.
because we're not gonna intervene with her stuff. The state comes in and they're gonna tell you the do's and don'ts, and if a child gets away to the street, we have nothing to do with
Yeah.
that. That's,
It's
Yeah,
all
the state has to do the licensing. They'll make sure that the
Yeah, they'll
property
do
is,
Yes.
meets all the,
Do it all.
yeah.
yeah, my only concern with rezoning was, and only because I've seen it happen in other cities where they rezone and then it goes from, and then your example, a daycare to a taqueria,
Oh,
or a barbecue place, and then the neighbors are complaining because the smoke from the smokestacks, coming over
Yeah.
to their house. And so this way, once you're done and you no longer want to have your business, it goes back to residential, and we're not worried about something else coming in there that the neighbors may not approve of. So,
So do I have to redo my motion?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay, so
To issue, was it to issue a
special permit?
Special use permit instead of rezoning.
Should we put a time frame, like 3 years, 5 years?
How long do you plan on?
I don't know. I've been doing this
I think
forever. I
why
just,
can't you- Let's just leave it as long as.
No, no, I'm just saying, because what if they
As
ask,
long as they do it, and if they're gone, then. it-
If-
Yeah, 'cause
if
the-
they ask
the
for it-
permit would die with them.
if they ask for an amount of years, then we can come back.
they usually don't because I have to pay fees every year, or every 2 years. I forgot how it goes with license, because right now I'm registered, so we do it every 2 years. So it just depends,
Yeah.
depends on
But
the,
when the state asked you to look into it because it was in a residential, that's all.
right.
They didn't tell you to convert it to
Oh, no, they
commercial,
did
right?
not. They did
Yeah.
not.
But no, you'll be okay with just a special permit. I would take my granddaughter there, but you'll send her back in 5 minutes.
Your ex tried to say, hey, how
Well,
about for a couple
look-
of days?
Just looking at this,
I
it's
think my
just like
grandson-
a special permit type thing.
Yeah, it's a special.
You wanna
Yes,
get
it's
this-
so cute.
Yeah.
Because it comes under daycare, nursery, kindergarten. He goes, he can do an R1 residential. So she's all right. It'd be a lot easier. just
Okay.
mhm.
Uh-huh.
Sounds good. All right. So you want to redo your motion?
Okay, so I'll redo my
At
motion
this point, you stay. I think.
to
I'm sorry,
allow
Make a-
for a daycare.
Yeah, people.
What is it? I'm sorry.
I'll be abstaining from the vote.
Okay.
Saying, because there's some relation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She owes her money.
Okay.
You pay me.
Daycare.
So go ahead.
Okay, just-
Councilman Candela will be abstaining from the vote. So we're going to redo the motion. Go ahead.
Yes, she's gonna leave it.
So I'll make a motion that we approve Mrs. Garza to, not to rezone, just to keep regular residential for her daycare instead of commercial.
And apply for a special
Just
permit.
use of a special permit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's a motion to allow Ms. Maria Garza to apply for a special permit for a property located at 202 Cook Street, to
Not to rezone it.
Allow for daycare.
convert to allow for a full-time daycare. Do I have a second? Okay, second by Councilman Dominguez. If there's no more discussion, we'll move forward with a vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. I'm sorry, abstain.
Okay, great. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good
Thank you.
And like Councilman Huerta, if I send my grandchildren, you will close down. So,
So they just need to come see you, right?
She's my granddaughter.
They just need to come see you.
Yes, I'll be in touch.
Oh, you need to touch me. Okay.
If I don't call you soon, I'll be in
Thank you.
item J, discuss, consider, take action to surplus the Odom Police Department vehicles, the 2019 Dodge Durango, black in color. I'm not going to go through the VIN number, and the 2020 Dodge 1500 black pickup truck. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we surplus the Odom Police Department vehicles, 2019 Durango and the 2020 Dodge.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Councilman Huerta to surplus the Odom Police Department vehicles 2019 Dodge Durango and the 2020 Dodge 1500 black pickup truck, second by Councilman Falcon. Any discussion?
I'm gonna go ahead and say what I'm gonna say, because on section K, I know there's another one, but I'm just gonna say that we already have a company in place where you can send them pictures and they'll auction it. We'd probably get more money out of it
Right.
if you want to look into the company.
You probably
But
saw
again-
the TML.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a TML.
I think that with this first item here is just, we want to try to include the council in these decisions, to surplus anything that the city owns.
Yeah.
That we're going to surplus. We want to make sure that the council's aware of ahead of time. And then, of course, from there, we can move forward to how we
Yeah.
want to dispose of the vehicles. And that's kind of what item K is.
No, I understand that, but being that it goes almost hand in hand,
Yes, for sure.
I'm gonna vote yes, but I didn't want to vote yes and say, well, let's
Yeah.
sell them to so-and-so person,
Well,
So,
they get the ball, they
I'll
should
say
get the
this.
ball rolling.
Yeah.
Somehow, let's sell this
Yeah,
thing.
so this is just, to kind of surplus them.
Yeah.
So,
and those are the oldest vehicles,
Okay.
I think.
no.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
The white one and the Dodge, I think the Charger, the black Charger, I think are probably the oldest ones.
Durango's still new, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So-
Durango's too.
So we don't have any more discussion. We'll move forward with the vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
What are we voting for?
just to surplus,
Okay.
the surplus.
To surplus.
Yes,
Place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
yes.
Motion carries to surplus the Odom Police Department vehicles 2019 Dodge Durango and the 2020 Ford Dodge 1500 truck. Now, item K, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the city administrator to accept an offer from Calallen Independent School District to purchase 2 Odom Police Department vehicles, the 2019 Dodge Durango and the 2020 Dodge 1500 black pickup for their future campus police department. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we deny,
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we deny the selling of or offer to Callahan Independent School District, and to go ahead and surplus it to the company that we have on hand with TML.
So do I have a second? Let's go ahead and move forward. Do I have a second to deny the motion?
I'll second for discussion.
So Councilman Dominguez seconds the motion for discussion only. So we'll move forward with discussion at this time. So let's just I'll start off real quick. The Calallen Police Department came to us because they realized that our department had some vehicles. They're starting a new police department there at Calallen ISD. I think we've met with Danny, the mechanic. He checked out the vehicles that they were interested in, and Danny gave us kind of the value that he saw for each vehicle. And we presented that to the Calallen ISD. And I think that, to assist them, we said, well, let's go ahead and go through council. I think it's a nice gesture on our part to assist the department over there getting started, to get a couple of used vehicles just so they can get their license and get their department started. So that's why we decided to kind of bring this and present it to council.
Do you have a figure?
Well,
No, I'm sorry.
that
On the other
15,000 and the 27,000 were basically what Danny had advised for each of those vehicles, based off like the Durango. It's been into front collisions. More is rebuilt, but it's definitely been through some couple major accidents. Their counter was to pay 15, but then also to pay 5,000 less on the Dodge 1500 because of the back window had smashed out on the driver's side. It's backed up now, so everything's getting inside of it, and there was some additional work that needed to be done on it. Like some of the rotors and brakes need replaced, dash systems still working, new tires, new back passenger window also. That was their counter based off that assessment there.
It happened while the chief was still here. Apparently there was a rock flew out of another vehicle and it shattered the windshield.
We were in them, they're pretty trashed out around there.
The inside wasn't very well taken care of. There was a lot of trash inside the vehicles, but overall, I mean, they're in pretty good condition. They just need to be detailed and cleaned up. But the Durango, the black Durango, did have a motor replaced on it not too long ago. So, you know, it's got a new good motor. It's going to last, but it has been in a couple of accidents. But it ran good. They brought their mechanic also to come and look at their vehicle, to the vehicles, and after we had Danny look at them and kind of give us exactly what we were looking at, and that's kind of the numbers that we got from Danny, since he's the one that's worked on these vehicles the most. So I think total for both vehicles was going to be around what we're looking at?
37,000.
I see Billy's part, but like I said, we need to get rid of this. This thing was sitting there for how many months?
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't get any younger.
We paying
And we're
insurance on
helping
them?
them get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Are we
another-
paying insurance on these?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am.
We didn't renew the registration recently. I held off on that, but we are still paying insurance just because I don't think it was, you never know.
Hell, Daddy.
Yeah.
The Durango also was the K9 truck, so the back of it's pretty, the back was pretty torn up from the dogs, that they used to carry back there as well. So, I mean, I think that just as a good gesture to the school, being able to help them out, I think it's just kind of good PR for the city of Odom.
Does the city's getting almost the Blue Book value on these vehicles? The 2019 was valued at what, 15,000, and they're offering you 15,000 for it.
Is that the Blue Book value that's?
That's the
That's the mechanics,
assessment.
the assessment.
That's probably without.
The Blue Book was about 16 and some change. That's like good though, like no accidents,
No
clear-
access,
free
yeah,
and
two
clear.
access, yeah.
And then the Dodge was about 28, 29, I think, if I remember correctly, in Blue Book. But that's like, no problems, free and clear, just, regular wear and tear.
They only give us 25 for the Dodge.
I mean, we can counter back. I mean, if you're authorized me to go and counter, we can. I mean, I just don't know what's gonna make or break the deal.
15, 25. 15 and 25. It's a packet deal.
So 40 grand.
That's what I'm looking at. They gives us 40. We have some extra money to pay, maybe possibly use it somewhere else. If we need some more assistance.
Yeah, there you go.
And what-
You're
and then they-
thinking,
And if they tell us
you're
no,
thinking now.
and then you're stuck with the vehicle still.
No,
No, we just got that surplus company, but
yeah, I think that they
And
would
so we're
be,
gonna have to get it all up. to
let's
par
just
before
see
do it
where
that way.
let's just give, all we're doing here is giving Sal
Some numbers.
authorization to accept an offer from the
Well,
Cal
we-
Allen.
We haven't given
That's it.
him,
We
we
haven't
haven't
given
given him a, he said no.
He said
Uh,
no,
um,
he said,
Okay, that's
So now we gotta go
true.
for a vote, and then we'll go see what happens.
So-
no, but nobody seconded, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but he just
He's
seconded for
For
discussion.
discussion only.
That's it.
So we still don't have a second.
So you don't have a
on the
second, it
motion to
dies.
deny,
Oh.
so.
But,
Well, you want to rescind and?
well, yeah, I
Motion?
mean, I'll rescind the motion, but like I said, I mean, we can get 40 grand. He doesn't need to know that it's 25 for that one, just say 40 grand for both, that's it.
Now we know.
So we can go ahead and.
Thanks, Billy. Thank you, Billy. Thanks, Billy.
Well, it's 40 grand, take it or leave it.
So we can go ahead and just, I mean, the whole thing here is to
Hey,
give
they got static, they can't hear.
Yeah.
Everybody complains that they can't hear.
the city administrator to accept an offer from the Cal Allen
I'll
to
make a
purchase.
motion that we accept, well,
Well, I think Billy has to rescind his motion.
I think he just did, or no, that was.
Yeah, I rescind my motion on,
Okay, so we,
On the
Councilman Huerta
surplus.
rescinds his motion to deny. So we have a,
I
Take a
make a
motion.
motion, we would consider and take action to authorize city manager to accept an offer by Carolina School District for the two vehicles.
okay, and second by Councilman Dominguez, to authorize the city administrator to consider an offer from the Cal Island Independent School District to purchase two vehicles from the police department, the 2019 Dodge Durango and the 2020 Dodge 1500 black pickup truck. If there is no more discussion, we will vote. Place one,
yes.
place two,
Yes.
place three,
Yes.
place four,
Yes.
place five.
Yes.
A motion carries to allow the city administrator to consider an offer from the Cal Island Independent School District.
Thanks, Billy.
40. John, 40. Garcia, right? That's his last name. 40.
Non-action items, discuss hurricane preparedness and other potential emergency plans. I know that you've been going to some get-togethers, Sal, so I'll let you.
So basically, right now, we had provided some hazard mitigation plans that were long overdue to the county. Pretty happy to say that we're one of the few entities that's actually providing that to the county, so they were grateful for that. I did attend a workshop of sorts a couple weeks ago when they were kind of just working through the county's emergency management plan as far as all the details and basically working the plan from A to Z. And when people hear emergency management plan, they think hurricanes right away. It's not always that. It's also considering other small incidences, like maybe chemical spills or major accidents, that kind of stuff, explosions, any other sorts of incidences like that. So it's still in draft form on their side, but they were excited to see that we had something to add to that. So I think, from my understanding, is that because we don't have our own emergency management, department, we sort of just lean on the county as to be the lead. But of course, that still doesn't diminish the power of the mayor in case there is, an emergency declared. The mayor does assume certain powers, and also the mayor, if can issue an evacuation if the mayor does deem so. That is also part of the
But
power.
we did have an emergency coordinator, so maybe we can designate Sal as the emergency coordinator. Because
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of am already just because of my background. And
Give you
then
that title, too.
Donna was actually
Yeah.
instrumental in helping get that going because she did help with the last kind of group of packets. And like I said, as you know, I'm pretty busy, so I asked Donna, I was like, "Can you help me out with this?" And she knocked it out lickety split. I just reviewed it and it looked great, so we were able to work with.
So I have a question. So like the elderly that are in town that has no family here, do we have a list of those, or who contacts them, or?
We should be encouraging people to sign up for STEER, and what that is basically. Don't ask me what that means. I'm just the acronyms. I'm sorry. Basically, what it is, it hooks them up with organizations that could possibly go pick them up, and if the county ends up going that route, they basically could bus them. Basically, they come pick them up, take them, or they get dropped off at, let's say, the county grounds, and there's some buses that would take them to San Antonio or wherever they think maybe a hurricane's not going to hit. Obviously, that is for just prepared emergency management, not anything that could happen all of a sudden. But yeah, STEER is the way to go. I come from the school of we don't want to get in the realm of taking on liability by housing and taking responsibility for certain people. And not that we don't care, but we need to also protect the city because we're not the Red Cross, we're not the Baptist men who have long histories of working with these issues. And Red Cross is famous for housing and knowing how to manage it, because you don't want to stick a group of people in a building that's not ADA compliant, where there's maybe some risks and stuff like that. And you want someone who's qualified to run those shelters. Like I couldn't do that, honestly. Like I'm not certified, that kind of stuff. So they have the ways, they have the means. So we should definitely again stick with what the county's offering, and then again make connections with those organizations like the Red Cross and so on and so forth, so that we can reach out to them. Yes, yes. We should be, the county will have some information we can kind of roll out.
I think what we could do is we could provide like a pickup spot, if there were elderly, where we could
Yeah.
say, meet at this location and we're gonna help bus you to the fairgrounds,
Mhm.
where there's gonna be buses
You
to
can always
transport you, so.
coordinate with the school.
Right.
So it could be the school, it could be,
And that was their kind of question mark because they kind of stopped short of the idea. They were like, okay, we're trying to get the schools to agree to use the buses. And I think they haven't heard back from the schools yet, if I remember correctly. So there's still some planning going on. Like, I know like in Nueces County, there was the RTA. So the RTA was working with the county to provide those buses. And also there's not just putting people on buses and shipping them. You have to, they're basically tagged.
Yeah.
They're-
Oh, here, we're
yes.
just sending from here to the fairgrounds.
Right, yes,
That's it.
yes.
and
yes.
there's a bus,
Yeah.
was it Durham or something like that?
Mhm.
There's where you can, I know that we've used them before, Travis County, where they, they come and, they use their buses to bus people from point A to point B. And for us would be from here to the fairgrounds, and then from the fairgrounds, they could get a bus to San Antonio or wherever they were going to be going to
Yeah.
be housed.
I mean, if I know, no, you said, I know, Councilman Dominguez, you're concerned about the elderly. I know I did have a long conversation with some of the EMT people out there, and they have a lot of interaction with some of the elderly. So we could lean on them to find out if they know of anyone that's kind of just alone, who maybe doesn't even have the resources to kind of get that information digitally. So we can reach out to them and try to ask them to just give us some addresses and some locations so we can hand deliver those things too.
You can always send out letters on the water bill
Mhm.
saying that in the event of a hurricane, would you need assistance? And then they can start signing it
Right.
up.
Yeah, and because the county's still sort of working out some details, I think we could just lean on steer. Because like I said, it's a statewide program where they can get you connected with resources. Because you tell them what you need, and they'll hook you up with what you need. It's there's a 211 is also not necessarily just to connect that. 211 is also a statewide organization that if you need help, just even with food, you tell them what you need, they'll connect you with an organization that'll help you. So there's lots of resources we need to start promoting.
So what about the city from being able to function? Do you see anything that maybe?
I mean, what we definitely need to do is we need to look into, it's probably not cost effective, but I think it's still something we need to do is we need to have ID cards, like plastic kind with certain codes on it. Because if we have to evacuate, well, y'all will go, like me and Mayor probably stay behind. So anyone that leaves, if the roads are shut down, the sheriff's office and DPS, they're not going to let anyone in because of looting and so on and so forth. But if you have the proper, they want to let people back into their homes if it's not safe. And that's going to be designated by either the mayor or the judge, depending on, what the level of the event is. So that card would let you in as an authority to say, I need to get in there to do some work. And even then that might be limited. Like if we want our crews to come in and help start clearing stuff out, they need certain, clearance and stuff like that.
And I think what Councilman Dominguez talked about also is, we have an agreement with the company for a generator. If we're out of power, we can rent a generator to hook up the city hall or even if the old police department, if we have the police department back in, to be able to hook up and still be able to function. So we do have an agreement with, and I don't know right offhand who that's with, but we do have an agreement where we could rent a generator to keep city, functioning if we needed to. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's
the PD made us last Hurricane Harvey. They made us cards
did they have
with an ID.
I thought it was made through the COG, or do we have the machine somewhere at the PD that we can use?
The PD made them for us.
Okay.
I think they were made through a contractor, though. I don't think there's a machine.
They were
Okay.
making them last week at the Hurricane Conference in Robstown, through TDEM.
Do TDM?
And once you get one, they're good for about 6-7 years.
We all got one that worked at the city with their ID from the state of Texas. They did it through the police department.
Yeah, the council all comes with them.
We can look over. So we're gonna move on to item B, discuss options to fill the municipal judge vacancy. I think that, we kind of talked a little bit about that, how you and FD probably be the best to kind of see what we can, what is our court schedule, what is it that we need to do? Do we continue, can we do, court once a month in the meantime?
Can Mayor do that? Or, Jesse, didn't you have,
I can't, but it's dual office.
okay,
So the mayor can, but I'd have to go to the class, so.
Okay.
Do
There
municipal
was
judge.
a provision, and I'm looking into it because I said, you know what? The easiest way would be is maybe let's see if we can appoint a council member or the mayor. But like Jesse says, being that office is a paid position and this is a paid position as well.
Okay.
You can't hold two offices. Even if you were to say, you know what, I just won't get paid over there, they still don't allow you to do that because it's a paid position.
Okay.
When it comes to the mayor, the statute says that the mayor is the ex officio judge of the city, right? And he could take over the municipal court unless you have an ordinance that has set out the procedures for hiring a municipal court judge. Then once the city establishes that, which we do have an ordinance, then the mayor can no longer step into that role. Okay. So the mayor would not be able to do that as well as any of the council members. So we'd be stuck with looking at to see, okay, I guess advertising
You could
to
show
see
it
if we're going to advertise for a part-time judge or a full-time judge. I think Judge Guerrero was part-time. And I don't know what her salary was. And we used to have court twice a month. Okay. That I came in and took care of cases on a pretrial docket or either trials. I know she was there more often because she had to arraign people, those new cases that were coming in, she would have to arraign them. And some of those people that came in right then and there said, you know what, I'll plead no contest and I want deferred. So she would take care of those cases. Those who would plead not guilty and wanted to discuss the case with me, then we'd set them for a pretrial conference. And that's where I came in, like I said, twice a month.
so let me ask you, I guess, a different question. So I know when the other judge was here, she gave us a number about cases that we were behind, but I know the mayor went over there and looked, and a lot of them are like several years old, which those have to come out. So do we have any cases that are like recent? I mean, and if we don't, do we just not fill it and wait till we get the police department going again, or what do we do?
We still have, the problem is that we still have judgments out there floating around, people who pled no contest in return for a deferred disposition.
Okay.
Okay. And somebody has to report the satisfaction of that judgment to Austin, because if not, it stays as a conviction on their record.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a problem, is that we have several of those cases still floating out there. The ones that still haven't been addressed, well, we can either say, you know what, under rights of a speedy trial, we're going to dismiss him, or we don't have an officer anymore, let's dismiss him, or what have you.
Well, I think just for what you just said, then let's not dismiss them and let's go forward with it to help pay for that position.
Okay. That's my concern right there, is that
Okay.
we can get into trouble because these people are relying that stuff's not going to stay on their record, because it'll affect their insurance rates and all that.
I think-
The county has the same problem. There's warrants out there back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. It's not just the city.
No, Robstown,
Counties, everybody.
I was over in Robstown a couple of weeks ago, and they took me into a back room and says, Epi says, what are we going to do with all that stuff up there? I said, well, are those disposed cases? He said, no, he said, these are cases that are pending. I said, how far back? Believe it or not, they had some from 2006 2007 all the way up to the present. And I'm talking about thousands of tickets that were just sitting up there. But now those officers were retired and were deceased. Like, okay. So I sat through there and I said, okay, every time I come in, I'm going to go through these and let's see how we can start disposing of them. So we finally figured out, I think one of their clerks went to a class. She was taking a class that morning as I was there. He said, check this out, Ippy. As I said, look, what we can do is we can earmark, we're going to take all the 2013 cases to 2015 and do either an ordinance or resolution dismissing those cases. That way you don't have to sit there and dismiss each case one by one. So that's what we're going to do with those. But it's just not Odom. It's a lot of cities, arrange the same issue.
Well, I know that, cases, and then I told the judge when I sat down with her, cases from 2019, 2020 that hadn't even been, no action had been taken in them. And, she says, well, it's hard to get officers here, because of obviously they don't work here anymore. But in 2019, we had all our officers here. In 2019, we had our clerical staff here. So my issue was, well, why weren't these cases disposed of in 2019? Why is it 2024? And now you're trying to find officers, when we had, our police department was up and running, and why weren't they? So I told her then that I didn't feel comfortable, having these cases that have been, like you said, we do have, we want to give these people an opportunity to a speedy trial. But here we are, 2024, and these cases, nothing's been done with them. So we will have to kind of look at that, what our options are. And so first we need to see about how we're going to move forward in hiring a judge. So if it's as simple as just putting out that we have a vacancy, that we're looking for a part-time judge, maybe we can just go ahead and post something like that.
What kind of money are we looking at for a part-time judge?
Well, Judge Guerrero, I think, was at $1,800 a month. So we would have to keep it around the same. So we could do that. All right. Mayor and council and staff reports, an update on the Operation Lone Star and a final review from the governor's office. Obviously, I've kind of let you guys know that we will not be required to pay back the $144,000 that was that the OOG's office was questioning. They accepted our response to them along with the information that we obtained. However, there were some recommendations that we need to go ahead and move forward with approving policies and procedures, our financial policies and procedures. We need to move forward with approving policy and procedures on how we're going to manage grants going forward. We need to have a procedure in place to maintain the ledger. And I think that's something that, having Mr. Bain here could help, where we can have a system in place where we could separate those expenses from general expenses in the future before we start kind of working with grants again. But all in all, Sal and the city staff did a great job getting all the information together to submit to the OOG office. And luckily, we'll chalk this up as a learning experience, and moving forward, we'll make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to manage grants because, hopefully we will be looking for grants as soon as we get caught up with some of these audits, to do some different things with the city.
So the plan that we put together that we provided, it had some ordinances in there that that weren't necessarily like our ordinances, so we need to move forward. I did send them to Epi, and we talked a little last week or this week, I can't remember. But we are going to meet together and kind of go through it page by page and make sure that if those ordinances line up with anything we already have, or do we need to create new ordinances, and we'll bring that back to council, just so we can get that to bed and say, this is our fiscal policy. And we'll always have.
We
that.
have to approve it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I just want to say also that I know it was blown out of proportion as far as the PD. I mean, everywhere I go, you're from Odom, eh? Did they steal money? Did they sell these cars and all that? I think, us calling the media and all that stuff was uncalled for. I think next time, let's just try to work it out, figure out what we can do before exploding it out there or on social media, on Facebook, So that's just what I have to say.
I got one thing. Well, it's not on this. Is it okay?
Go ahead.
So I know we're not there yet, but is there any way that you could give us just a one-page report, what's in the bank, what's left? And on CDs, where are we at? Where are they at? And how much do we have? Just like a one-pager, just so we can all
Sure.
know,
Yeah, I can send
just to
it.
give us a
Yeah.
comfort level.
Mhm.
I know that's not
Sure.
what we want right now, but at least that's something
Yes,
that will give us allow us to make better decisions when we're talking about certain people
sure.
or things coming to the table that we want to
Mhm.
work on.
Right.
This will help me out.
Yeah, no, I can certainly share that with you, Like I said, I can,
You used to do it.
I can certainly, attempt to put together some good, decent numbers with what we have, on a monthly basis. That's kind of what I would love to do for you. But I mean, if we can start with just like, hey, this is how much money we got in the bank, we're okay.
Yeah.
And then kind of work out the details later. That's if you're okay with that. I mean,
Yeah, just something, just some numbers.
Mhm.
Some numbers better than no numbers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I can send that to you. I do plan on sending you all a monthly report in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So yes.
You should do it when you first start out.
Yeah, I do want to going back to this item with the governor's office. The attorney, the law firm that we hired, we did speak to them. I forgot to mention, and they will be providing a report on their findings to us as on obviously, like I said, on their findings. They will be providing a report to us, and when we get that final report from them, we will share that, obviously with all the council. All right, next, council member, place 5, the Odom Economic Development Corporation activities. Ma'am.
Yes, we just wanted to report that we did the Sharp Park cleanup demo, and Earthworks is who did the job. I think they did a really good job. I don't know if any of you all have passed by there and seen it.
Looks good.
Looks good. Yes, we are getting a new library sign.
Yay.
I don't know if you all have noticed even the new installed lights over at Railroad.
Yes,
Oh,
They look
yes.
good.
they look good.
They look good. And we also did some improvements to Agave on their driveway.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yes.
So,
And Danny,
oh
Extreme.
yes, Danny Extreme, yes, I'm
He's-
sorry, I did
he's
have that on my
building,
list,
yeah.
sorry.
I've been
Yeah.
over there to Danny's shop, man. It's a
It's looking
it's a
good,
nice
right?
shop.
It's looking
It's
good.
it's gonna be nice. The waiting area is gonna be really nice. They're gonna have like a break area for the employees.
What I
Danny's
like
is-
is that all law enforcement uses them.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh
You
yeah.
got
They were tapped.
Taft, you got Sinton,
Yeah.
which is good.
So
Another item on that one, since we hired Sal to do the paperwork, he did turn in the April 1st, it's EDC. I guess report that we have to do every year.
Requirement.
Him and Gavin did a great job. You want to explain a little bit on that?
Well, it just, I mean, Councilman Falcone brought it to my attention that report needs to be done. So he sent me a link and we just had to crunch some numbers and pull some data, just because, again, it's not really documented easily. So we just had to, had Gabby and I work together and we just were able to produce that report once we kind of got a grasp of it. But I know in the future, once we get, and we're moving forward with that digital software that's going to kind of be able to house our stuff digitally. We do have desktop scanners now, so that's going to help us also keep track of stuff a lot easier. So it'll be at their fingertips eventually. But yeah, it was.
We'll have an EDC meeting probably next couple of weeks and we'll let, have anything, just let us know.
Well, I think that we need to look at, now that Sharks Park looks so nice, man, we need to do something out there. I mean, open it up to the community because it looks really nice coming through town. It does. Yes. So we discussed the Little League, so there's going to be some work we're kind of looking at getting some work done with the Little League, so you know. There you go. So yeah, we have some things going on with the Little League, so. Did y'all call, I think we need to just call the county, come out, maybe, set a kind of a permit or something on it. All right. One more thing, go ahead.
Are you having trouble with the technology system or email and all that?
Yes. So,
Is there anything we need to do?
no. So here's the deal. So in order for a business or an entity like ours Microsoft changed what it does. You can't just go online and buy users, right? You have to go through a third party. It's a company, it's called Apakla, who is a third party out of Houston. So they're working with our IT, and if our IT is having trouble, then I certainly couldn't be the one to fix it. So it's a migration issue, and there's a lot of little facets that even they're having to learn how to move it over. They're making progress. They're having conference calls, so we're moving towards it. Some people are getting some emails, some people aren't, but they're aware of it, and they're in the office. They finally got some of the ladies in the office squared away with at least their emails. So and it is a little complicated. So I may need to schedule individual sit downs with you because there is a lot of authentication needs to happen, and it does seem like a pain. But at the end of the day, it's going to just make sure that we don't get hacked, and it actually does meet government standards. How this is. So
Nothing wrong with the equipment.
no, nothing wrong with the equipment. It's just a matter of just migrating over from the Gmail and not losing anything to the office.
But also surprised, didn't you have to do a certain class with computer?
Yes, there's a cyber awareness class that you have to take if you're working the government and you work on at 85% of your job is on the computer. So for those that, at least I know on the administration side, we all have to take it. I don't think the maintenance have to take it. I don't know that y'all really need to take it, but you're more than welcome to if you like. But it's basically just testing you on, how to make sure that you're not getting spammed or getting hacked. So it's like I said, it's up to you if you want to take it, but for certainly in the office administration, we have to take it. It's a requirement.
I have a question for Sal. The brush at the centralized site. I know we don't have a CDO driver, right, to haul, but have you been working on it?
Yes.
There's a tree growing where the brush is. There's a tree growing.
I'm exploring options. Like I know we try to do, like we were trying to figure out a way to do like at least one more round of the city, and that would be tied in, but it was just too expensive. Because I know that right after they get a pickup, we got hit with a storm and there was just brush and trees all over the place, and I get it, but we just couldn't afford it. It was like $15,000.
Can you try to look at third-party companies?
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah. Well, they have
shipping or hauling.
Yes, they have. Well, see, and that's the thing. They have a first right of refusal. Art Republic does
Yes.
for the contract. So they did send me a quote of $5,000 to take care of the brush, and but he said after that, then I can explore a third party to see if I get it done cheaper.
Yeah.
But they basically just take it and haul it off, and we're done with it.
And deroot that tree.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because hey, it's a fire hazard.
I'll share that quote with you just because he did attach some additional information regarding like TCQ and some other issues that we need to kind of keep in mind for the future.
Yeah, I'm surprised TCQ hasn't bothered with it.
Right,
That
yeah.
centralized site.
Right. So that's just something we need to be careful with.
Nah, TCQ's not looking at us. Seriously.
Yeah.
Were they gonna make another round after the April 8th pickup that they did?
If you were skipped, we mentioned that people needed to call City Hall. But there were some people who just weren't skipped. They just had brush because the storm came through. And we're, like I said, we're just trying to figure out the middle ground because part of it is, could we have crews go out and pick that up with the minimal equipment that we have? It might be possible, but I don't want to get stuck with, yeah, we picked up this little bit of brush here, but why didn't you pick up my huge tree that fell over? Well, because we don't have the equipment to do that. So right now, the black and white of it is we have to just wait till at least July to do just one more round for that quarterly pickup. And it's only done quarterly, so just a reminder, it's not done monthly anymore, it's done quarterly.
All right, item 6, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make
Make a motion.
All right, motion by Councilman Falcon, and second by Councilman Alvaro to adjourn.